Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to this very special Leagues 4 Trailblazer Reloaded live stream. Tomorrow is the big day. It will be out tomorrow. I hope everyone is as excited as we are. We've gathered on live stream here to get you all prepped for the flex tomorrow. I hope everyone has booked their time off in advance. We'll do some overviews, we'll do some catching up on the latest League 4 announcements and answer the most frequently asked questions. But before we jump into that, Mod Arcane, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm terrified, I'm nervous, I'm excited. I don't know. Leagues.
All the things and the excellent, excellent. Mod Halo, how are you doing?
Hello, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm very excited to be here and super hyped for tomorrow. Like you have no idea.
Yeah, I have not. I feel like we're all at the same level, or at least I hope we're all at the same level. Um, yeah. See, Arcane's nodded his head. That's good. That's good. And finally, Husky, how is it going?
It is going absolutely fantastic. I'm just messing with the League's Discord right now and getting a few angry people at me for the at everyone, but it's a lot of fun chilling with the homies in the Discord. So yeah, just really excited for tomorrow.
Excellent, excellent stuff. All right. Yeah, I feel like we should just jump straight into it with some announcements first. And we'll kick things off with a start with the Living Leagues 4 blog, where we keep it updated with every latest Leagues 4 content. So you can use ! Leagues in the chat. Leagues 4 Trailblazer Reloaded releases tomorrow. If you need some help preparing, check out our Leagues 4 FAQ and teasers blog there. Little detour from Leagues, ! Poll. There is a poll live right now. Have your say on the Ratbone weaponry that you can create from Scurrius's unique untradeable drop. This poll closes Friday, November 17th, so you can get all the details in that command. ! Discord. Join the OSRS Leagues Discord, the best place to get OSRS Leagues updates and discuss strategies, or get a little troll in from the JMods themselves. And you can use that command to join there. ! Guide. If you're still undecided about what regions to unlock for Leagues 4, we've gathered 11 content creators to tell you why you should pick their favorite region. And you can watch that now. It's a banging video. Just go and watch it after this as well. ! Solo mission. Talking of creators, how about we go over to the snake himself? So if you're jumping into the leagues for the first time, you can check out Solo Mission's top tips for starting out and getting the most out of your league's experience. And finally, well, not finally, there's two more actually. ! GT. I think we're going to show you some things on screen now. We've partnered with Gentle Tractor to bring you concise and easy to read area guides for any region you may choose to explore. This is like a summary version of the video guide we shared earlier. We can see all contents come together. Each Trailblazer region is packed full of content, so it can be easy to forget a minigame or a boss when making your decision. These infographics will help you decide and plan your Leagues 4 journey ahead. So you can see them on the screen now. I don't know if Arcane, you want to jump in and just explain a little bit more about them?
Yeah, and I guess everyone knows what we're looking at here. They're really cool images that Gentle Tractor created. I'm not sure if they're going to be enough to help you pick your areas. I know it's been a bit of a meme for the last 2 weeks where like this changes everything, but hopefully it gives you a little bit more information so you can make more of an educated choice. But yeah, they're really cool to look at. I love all the pixel art as well that West has created for all the regions. And hopefully they have everything related to the areas that you care about. Very cool.
Very, very cool indeed. Yeah, the pixel art is a big win from West. So yeah, make sure to type ! GT in chat to get a link for its the Twitter thread that will be containing that. They will also be in the Leagues 4 news posts tomorrow as well. And finally, ! Wiki. We've teamed up with the OSRS Wiki to create a list of tasks found in Leagues 4 Trailblazer Reloaded. And you can start planning your journey now with a bunch of start tasks already available there. So head over to that if you haven't started planning yet. It will help you out. All right. We are going to jump into some of the biggest questions we've seen over the last few weeks. and see what we have to say about them. So I feel like we should just jump straight into them. And the first one is, how important was it to keep this new league feeling like the original Trailblazer versus making it feel new and fresh?
I think making Trailblazer Reloaded feel as new and fresh as possible was really important, simply from the perspective of it is a rerun, but we don't want it to feel like the same experience. We want people to have different metas, different routes. We want people to kind of pick different styles. We want to make sure that even if you did want to play somewhat similarly in terms of gameplay, that your experience still felt very fresh. Obviously, people that didn't play the original Trailblazer, it's going to feel pretty fresh regardless if you missed that experience. But we still wanted to make sure it was very obvious, like this is a rerun. It is going to be a very familiar system. But then let's try and make it as best as possible. Try and amp up everything. Try and refresh everything possible to make sure that there's enough to get hyped about, enough to get excited, enough to theory craft. Because I think that's what people enjoy the most about the leagues. It's the theory crafting. It's the routing. It's arguing with your friends about areas and combat styles. Like, it's all that kind of discussion, and we need to do as much as we can to make sure that still is alive. A full rehash would probably just lead to the same arguments, the same discussions, which probably wouldn't be as interesting.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you very much, Arcane. I feel like you've all done a great job making this league feel new and fresh. So, big well done. All right. Next question then. In the Shattered Relics League, which was our previous one, you went with a fragment system in response to Relic Regret. Is there a reason you've gone back to the old Relic system?
You want to start?
Yeah, you take it. You want to start or me start?
No, you can start.
Cool. Yeah. So I think before I get into this, I don't want to start like a whole this league system was better than another league system. I definitely hear people say that Shattered Relics was, their favorite league and they've got into it. And I've also seen a bunch of people saying, oh, like, how do I get both, say, Endless Harvest and Production Master? I want both. I want all my skilling to be super fast and all this stuff. But I think that just the amount of hype around this league and, ooh, what's this up against and what are the choices and how hard it is, and you've got some people really calking out, like, what is the optimal, like, sort of picks against each other, like looking at tier ones, and other people are just like, nah, I really enjoy this. There's something to be said for what happened in Shattered Relics, where everybody had access to the same really high power level. And it just it was like fun at first, right? Like, oh, I get through my grind super quick and that's great and all. But it didn't really make like any of the tasks interesting, if you know what I mean. Like, if I pick Endless Harvest, I'm looking at some of these, fishing tasks, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I can get these out super quickly. I can get sharks quickly. This is so much fun. And then, like, someone else has a completely different experience because, they're picking something that's focused on production skills. Oh, my God, I'm going to go for this really quickly. And you end up with this, like, really interesting thing with all these, like, it's not perfect, but, like, imagine, like, a rock with lots of interesting grooves and bumps and stuff. But if you just, like, give everyone's power, nobody is special because everybody has the same thing, right? And it just becomes that this, like, it's like playing the game, but at an increased power level with nothing of, like, interest there, right? And even if you, like, changed up the relics and said, oh, this is now a set effect for 2 and this is a set effect for 3, it's just like, oh, well, now everybody still just does the same preset. It basically turned the league into higher power level, and there is a correct preset for your activity, which just didn't make it actually all that fun and interesting from, like, a lot of players' take. So we've gone back to this one. We're going to see what's happened. I think that a lot of the Relic Regret stuff has come from in the past having some very, very strong outliers that really enhance Relic Regret. I know the Endless Endurance stuff in Twisted League was a big factor of that. And then we had Last Recall in the first Trailblazer League, which really was just offering something you couldn't do compared to something that you kind of already could. Like, something that had, like, infinite potential early and late, and others that dropped off really hard. So we've obviously done our best. I'm sure, like, there'll be some keyboard warriors who tell us that we've made some, could have balanced things better later down the line. But I'm fairly confident that this time round, like, there really isn't, like, a lot of clear, obvious wrong choices. And it really does just come down to which areas you picked and what are your playstyles. Because, yeah, I'm sure you can math out a correct choice, but I think that's only one factor in choosing a relic.
No, I fully agree. I think the only thing I'd really add on to that is, as much as people dislike Relic Regret in terms of like it's a negative feeling, right? You don't want to be that person that has the regret and feel like you might have to start over or anything. I think it's kind of just a side effect and the proof that the system works really well. In terms of, it means that the choices were really important and you care about them a lot. And a game that makes you really care about your choices is doing something right. And as much as it's like a negative side effect, that we can't have one without the other in reality. And I think it's a worthwhile trade-off.
Yeah, I think you're spot on the money there, Arcane and Husky, as well said. I mean, if you want to avoid regret entirely, just leave it up to chance. Roll a dice and let it have you pick your relics for you. You know, then you can blame luck.
I do think though on the Shattered Relic stuff, if that league had like triple the fragments and they were way harder to find, more like, you know, individual discoveries around the game world and not just like, okay, you get the fishing ones from fishing, you get them pretty quickly and now you're done. That maybe has a lot more potential in the future. Obviously that's like some dev out there is hating me because that's a ton of dev work if you like tripled them and then also had like bespoke, unique ways of interacting with them. I think that could have made it more interesting because then you end up in situations where not everybody has the same fragments. And suddenly you're maybe going back to like having that roughness, that like really juicy, interesting sort of landscape where everyone is slightly different and, you know.
I do wonder if we'll ever like revisit the fragment system and have it come back in a sense where it doesn't like take over the relic system by any means, but it's a sort of side progression sort of system that's just there in the league. Like maybe that'd be interesting. Bring the world to life a bit more as well. I don't know.
I think at the very least, this is a rerun, so it probably should stick with the same relic system, and I think that's a big part of like why we went with it this time around, you know.
Yeah, agreed. All right, thank you all for your in-depth answers on that one. Let's go on to the next question, which is, a lot of players expected a fourth area to unlock with the inclusion of Kourend and Kebos, but you've opted for only 3 unlocks. Could you elaborate on the reason for this?
Is this me again? I think
Yep.
this is me. So like, I know a bunch of people were spamming like L take in chat. I know there are probably a lot of people supporting me for like the other one. This is another one that's going to upset some people. But going back to, if a design goal for this league is to make choices interesting, there are a lot of people out there who are currently in the position of, okay, I'm going mage, I'm picking Kandarin, I'm probably picking Desert because that's like the 2 big ones, and is it Asgarnia, or like because I want, you know, stuff from that area? Is it going for Zaya because Ancestral's really good? There are a lot of things related to picking combat styles that one more area just solves all the problems. Like, it is literally, we're not fighting about what areas to pick and arguing about what that third one is and maybe trying different things. We're literally just going to, oh, okay, these are the 4 areas that have all the gear that you want for that style, and that's the correct choice. And that really goes against the idea of making interesting choices. I think this was actually like something that Flippy left me with when he worked for us, is you actually need to give them exactly how many areas they want to complete their build -1, and it was such like a big brain like opening thing, because I was thinking the same. I was like, oh, I want more areas because, you know, I want Fremenic to get my assembler, I want this to get that, and I want to complete the build because that's what old school RuneScape players do. They like to complete it, right? They want best in slot everything, and I think that just goes in the face of what this league is trying to do, as far as like, you know, giving you interesting choices. So yeah, I think Flippy's the wise one. I'm going to carry that forward. I really do think that a 4th area unlock, while it sounds like, oh, I'm getting access to more content, I actually think it would make this league worse by quite a large amount.
Awesome, thank you, Husky. Flippy the wise indeed. I miss him. All right. Next question then is we've got a little bit of a change. I'm new to leagues and I'm unsure where I should start. Any tips and tricks?
Got a few tips for you. So most of you may have already seen the solo mission video, but if you haven't, I'd recommend it. You can do !! solo mission in the chat. But just some generic points of advice from myself, and maybe the others want to chip in as well. To start off with, basically don't overwhelm yourself with the task list. It can be easily done by like going to the wiki, seeing like, you know, thousands of tasks or hundreds of tasks and being like, where do I start? So just take it in chunks. Just look at the starter regions you have, like Mistalen and Karamja. Look at the easy and medium tasks that we've already released, actually, and just start thinking about it. Obviously, as Husky mentioned, contrary to popular belief, there is no wrong choice in relics and areas. Go with what you enjoy, basically. So if you really enjoy AFK, you know, fishing and woodcutting, pick Endless Harvest. If you enjoy just like skilling, making loads of stuff, pick Production Prodigy. If you like running around and thieving, pick, you know, Trickster. It's totally up to you. Same goes for like areas. If your friends are all going to do raids together, if it's Chambers, pick Kourend. If it's Desert, pick, or TOA I should say, pick Desert. So yeah, just go with your gut, have fun with it, because that's the main thing, right? If you're bogging yourself down with like, oh, I picked the wrong thing, I'm not going on the meta route and I feel bad, like, we don't want that. We just want you to have fun, right? Which I'm sure you want as well.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like, people are obsessed about with efficiency. They're like, oh, which task should I do first? Which relic should I pick to then do all these tasks? And like, sure, it's really fun to be efficient, but like, the biggest thing is like actually doing stuff. And I think people struggle with this in the main game as well, where they're like so obsessed about efficiency, yet they'll spend 20 hours bank standing at TOB waiting for whatever to actually come around, like to figure out what they're actually going to do. And it's like, you should actually just be playing the game. You should actually go and chop that tree. You should go and flesh that log. Don't just sit there for an hour looking at the task list when you could actually be doing something. Don't get like, I think it's called analysis paralysis. Just like complete tasks. You basically breathe on anything and you're going to complete a task. Just run around and do stuff and you'll probably complete stuff.
And I think that's like...
Oh, go on, Husky.
I was going to say, like, I think everything people are doing with efficiency is correct, right? That's how you approach this league. You're looking and going, cool, which combat style first? Which one's resonating with me the most? And then you're going, cool, what are the strongest unlocks to make this the most powerful build? And that's how people start. And I think that's completely the correct way to plan. But do a fun pass over it at the end. If your entire build is built around getting a Tunic and Shadow, and you really hate raids, and you don't want to potentially put, like, 20 to 30 hours, which isn't great, but, like, you can still get unlucky. If you're not willing to do that and you really dislike that content, maybe give it a second thought going to Tombs of Amaska. Maybe consider picking an area that has content that you do like. But, you know, if you really like Guardians of the Rift and Temperos, that's also another really good reason to pick Desert. And maybe you just accept that you're hoping to spoon on the Shadow. Just do the fun check pass on your areas first, because people keep talking about, oh, well, this is the most efficient and I'll get the most points per hour. But if you're sitting there thinking about logging in and your thoughts are, God, I've got to go back into Tombs of Amaska to get the Shadow. I really can't be asked, but I need to do it to finish my build. Then you're going to get less points because you're demotivated to log in and play the league in the first place. Whereas, you know, like, if you just really enjoy, I don't know, like Vorkath, go mage Vorkath. It's possible. I don't know. Like, it might not be efficient meta, but if you're actually pumped to go on and mage Vorkath, go do it. So I think just do the fun pass on after you like have got your plan, you know?
I was going to say a really good example of that is Kandarin for people who want to pick mage. Kandarin is an amazing area for mage with a Cult Necklace and Tormented Bracelet, right? But if you hate demonic gorillas and you really can't bother getting 93 Slayer, just don't pick it. Like, you don't need the damage. You're going to absolutely smoke the entire end game without that additional 15% magic strength. Just pick an area that you can play with your friends. Pick, I don't know, Nex, Asgarnia, if you want to do Nex with them. Like, just pick content that you're going to enjoy. You don't need to min-max it. Obviously, if you love min-maxing it, obviously fully empower you, but don't force yourself to do boring stuff if it's just going to make you hate it.
Yeah,
we're not saying min-maxing is incorrect. You know?
Yeah. It's important to note as well, no matter what like combination of areas you pick, you'll still be able to get Dragon Tier. Like, it's not like one combination won't be able to get it, right? So
Yeah,
that is the benefit of static point thresholds compared to the dynamic. Like, we actually ran the risk last Trailblazer of you might not being able to get Dragon if you just didn't get enough points in your area. But we've purposely like calculated what are the lowest possible points someone could get. Maybe, you know, even trim off some of those really impossible tasks. Don't factor those in, and it is possible. So, you know.
Yeah, thank you all. Yeah, I think going back to the question briefly, I think especially if you're new, have a look over what content you would like to do, especially if you're new to the game as a whole. You're probably going to be able to do it in this league. So just pick the areas with the content you want to do, because you will probably be able to get there and experience it, and then, you know, you can come into the main game and be like, okay, I've got a new goal in mind, which is great. So yeah, all right. The next question we have is the league a way for us to test Ruinous Powers so that you can later add them to the main game?
No, we've done that. It was called the beta, and people didn't really want it, so we didn't add it to the game. This isn't some sneaky way of trying it out. It's just that we coded an entire prayer book that a lot of people really enjoyed. Seemed relatively suitable to just chuck it in the league so people can play with it. And I do think it actually adds some really interesting choices.
I think once players see the full picture, would you be okay with me talking about how that came around at some point and like why that ended up being a thing?
Later, yeah, but not right now.
Yeah. Because it was just a random, like, we were just talking about like potential relics to Arcane, and I was like, how hard would that be to turn on? And he's like, like one line of code?
Interesting.
It was a funny discussion.
Little teaser for later then. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But for now, let's move on to the next question. In Shattered Relics League, the task list felt very samey to previous leagues. Will the task list still feel like this, or have you made any substantial changes?
Yeah, I've made a lot of changes. I spent like almost a month straight just staring at a spreadsheet, trying to figure out like, okay, how do I mix this up in an interesting way? And that was a mixture of creating a bunch of new tasks, whether that was for old content or just trying to spice up the early game a bit. For those that have seen the task list already, there's like a task for making Elsie tell you a story. There's a lot of random ideas like that, just to kind of spice it up and make you like experience more of what RuneScape has to offer, since there's a lot of random things in our game, which is quite cute and has a lot of charm. Removing some tasks where it's like, okay, this content just had way too much tasks and people probably don't enjoy spending so much time there. Rebalancing tiers, rotating some tasks out. There's a lot of iterations to the task list over those 4 weeks. But only time will tell if they were good changes, right? I'm hoping you enjoy them, and I'm hoping they feel like it's fresh enough. I'm hoping that there isn't any tasks that feel like a massive drag. I know I toned down a lot of KC tasks where it's like, I think there's some bosses that had like 2,000 KC or something on it. It's like, no one really wants to do that. No one, even if it's expedited, 2,000 KC on anything is still a lot. So I toned down a lot of those to feel a bit more reasonable. Yeah, as an example in chat, 1,000 agility tickets in Brimhaven agility course, probably a little bit too much in hindsight. So there's toned down a little bit. However, I will admit that the 2K Ape Atoll, of course, is still there, and I wish I took it out, but I was very 50-50 on it, because I'm like, I don't want there to be content without a task, but I also don't want a task that makes people do 2K laps. I still don't know really how I feel on it, but it hopefully doesn't feel as required anymore.
Hope all you KDA majors are having fun!
Just don't do the task. Just don't do the task.
They do.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hello, did you have anything to follow on from that?
Not really, to be honest. I think, yeah, we've sprinkled a lot of like new little tasks in the earlier stages of the league, like as you've probably seen in the easy and medium tasks we've released, you know, like crying a wheat field, dance in a graveyard sort of thing. That people might not have picked up on their little routes that they've made. But yeah, always open to like the community's feedback on tasks, and we're always like learning on our task list as well. So like next league, I'm sure it'll be even better. Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed. All right. Thank you all. Next question then is, with Trailblazer Reloaded, we now have static thresholds for trophy unlocks. Can you talk about why you've opted for this approach? I know we've already sort of gone over it, but why not?
Yeah, I think the biggest change for this was very much for anyone that played any of the past leagues and you really wanted to get Dragon in particular. It just felt like you were constantly chasing a moving target, because you literally were, right? You were logging in every day and figuring out, okay, how many points do I need to get today to keep my rank or to get the rank? It was just a little bit exhausting. You ended up doing a bunch of tasks you didn't really enjoy doing. It kind of forced you to experience content in your areas that were maybe not particularly desirable, like 2K, Apital, Agility, Labs. But with a static threshold, you can kind of figure out, like, okay, what tasks can I just omit, and I can get Dragon without them, right? So this does mean that Dragon's probably going to be easier to get in this league compared to last leagues, because it's not going to be just this ever-moving thresholds. It's completely based on how popular the league is in reality. We might not get it right this first time, but we'll iterate on it over time and hopefully get it to the right amount of competitiveness. We don't want it to feel like, okay, you need to play 16 hours a day for 6 weeks straight. It's probably a little bit extreme, but we also don't want it to be practically free if you just play the game casually and pretty much do nothing at all in terms of like actually carrying tasks. Like if you just did Kraken constantly and nothing else and still got Dragon, we're probably doing something wrong there. So hopefully it feels like it's in a good spot. All of the other thresholds got balanced as well, so you don't get bronze within 30 minutes of logging in anymore. You do need to actually gain a couple of thousand points now to get bronze. So hopefully that feels like a little bit of a milestone, along with all the other ones in between.
Will they
It's
know
worth
the
noting as well.
points?
Sorry, Husky.
Will they know the points for each trophy, like when they log in tomorrow immediately?
Yeah, I was
or are we
gonna
gonna
say-
update it.
In game, you should be able to see the point thresholds from launch. So
Cool.
easy.
I wasn't sure on that one.
And you can also, I think the shop may be closed tomorrow just for launch day. But after that, you should be able to claim trophies as well and buy rewards from the shop with those points. So you won't have to wait until the end of the league sort of thing, which is quite cool.
Yeah, race to see who can equip the Dragon Trophy in main game first, you know?
Awesome. All right. Thank you all. We're going to come a little bit away from just like static questions to speaking to the mods about their choices and their favorite bits. So first up, we're going to ask, what was your favorite teaser that's been released? And we'll start with you, Arcane.
My favorite teaser that Husky did was Undying Retribution. All of these teasers are amazing. Husky's done an amazing job on a lot of these. Undying Retribution just had me cackling. It was so good. Do we have that to play? The Undying Retribution one?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's the quivering. It's the quivering that broke me. Right.
Yeah, it's just a prayer flicker.
It's so good.
It's too real.
It is. Can they still hear us, by the way?
Yeah.
Go. Hi, chat. That's cool.
I love it so much. It's just so funny.
It's so good.
I think it's a really cool relic as well.
Oh yeah, it's an amazingly cool relic. 100%. Probably definitely with Arcane it being probably my favourite one of the reveals. Mainly for the Jad Shake. Yeah, it was pretty good. Husky, how about yourself?
It was torn between like 3 for me, which is like a cop-out answer, but the Ruinous Powers one was sick. I think people just weren't expecting it. I so loved that the Discord were just like, oh, here's all the relics. We've leaked all 21 like relics, and then it's like, oh, like, here's a new icon we haven't seen, and then they just broke. So then there's a ton of speculation about like that, and oh, like, are some of these not relics, etc. And just like that was fun. The Banker's Note stuff was a ton of fun in the Discord as well. I think people just kind of like, whoa, this seems obscene and broken. A lot of talking about that. But I think the favorite reaction for me was the Guardian one, to be honest, right? I think just showing how yeah, we could play that live, but I think the Discord just kind of showing how thirsty they were. Oh, there are a lot of jokes about having like a girlfriend in game and stuff, and we don't have to pay 10k for her. Was quite funny.
Unlocking GF.
Yeah, waifu relic. Here it is.
Do it for her.
When you find out that the Guardian is going to perform better than you in the raid and steal your MVP, you know. But yeah, great relic. Still probably going to pick it myself. I think it's a really strong relic.
Interesting stuff. Thank you, Husky. All right, Halo. What about yourself?
Well, I did struggle between a few because all the teasers, as Husky mentioned, was just so good. I think my favourite has been the banker's note and like the reaction from the community as well, and the video itself was just so cool to see it. But yeah, and I wonder if like Last Recall was ever paired up against this, what people would pick.
I asked this in the Discord, and a lot of people were saying Banker's Note, which kind of surprised me, in all honesty. Like, I kind of thought that Last Recall would come out, but I think people just saw the Runecraft games and were like, nah, this is insane.
Such a cool relic.
Yeah, very, very cool relic. Alright,
should we have got like a Boaty saying like money like as the video was playing or something? Because that's kind of the vibes I felt like his spoof character, right?
I mean, that's probably Fire Sale, right? Money.
Fire Sale.
Infinite money.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think yeah, mine was the same as Arcane's, but the other thing I want to call out is Hootie's use of the amount of models he had crawling through these teasers. I might have to have like a discussion with him after, because what's that about, bro? But yeah, let's go on to regions and styles for you guys, and Husky, we will start with you.
Okay, I'm ready to get flamed by Twitch chat as the Discord are flaming me, but I'm going ranged. That's fine. Going ranged, and my whole route is like I want to get a T-bow. And I want to blast with a 2-tick T-bow, so I'm picking Zaya. I haven't really done a ton of Tombs of Amascut on my personal account. It's something that has just still been sitting on the back burner, so I kind of want to give that a shot. And I think that's where, like, you know, a lot of raiding content's going to be, so going to pick that. Also Missouri Armor, of course, to go pick up back at the T-bow. But winners pick Taranwin. That's why it's called Taranwin. So I'm also picking T. There is no reason. People keep speculating. There's a few relics that synergize really well with it, and I'm probably going to be abusing the hell out of that. But the honest truth is, I just had a blast with Taranwin as my first pick in the original Trailblazer, and all I'll say is that like some of the problems that I had with Taranwin are not going to be as big a problems this time around. I'm just really excited to just get in there. I'm going to steal all the crystal imps before all the other people come to steal them from me. So I'm going to like do some early Zalcano. I'm going to try Corrupted Gauntlet with like, you know, 50-60 ranged in this. It's just going to be a ton of fun. And Taranwin is just a comfort pick for me. I really love that area and that zone. So I've picked like the sort of core ones I need for a relative amount of power. And then I'm just going to chill and enjoy Taranwin. Like, I don't know what, like, I just really love Corrupted Gauntlet as well. I think it's great content. I'm happy to sit there and grind it out. And yeah, so that's why I'm picking Taranwin. I'll probably still get more points than most of the chatters in chat anyway, despite it not being a meta pick. So come at me. Like, see you on the other side when you've got a Rune Trophy and I've got a Dragon Trophy, because I'll just put more hours in.
Damn, alright, Husky. Okay.
Just to emphasize my point, it doesn't matter, right? People go about meta, and I just really want to pick Taranwin, and I'll do well because that's a content I enjoy. I'm literally trying to be an example of what I'm saying with that, you know?
Very respectable, Husky. Very respectable. All right, Halo, Wagwan, what are you doing? Region and style,
What
hit
am I
me.
doing? So I'm also going range. Seems to be pretty popular. A bit more of a meta route, I guess I'm going is like Desert, Asgarnia, Kourend as well. Mainly because I want to, a few friends of mine that are playing, they want to do raids together. So we want to do TOA and Chambers. And it's just super strong for like range items. You know, you got T-Bow, 2-tick T-Bow is going to be insane. Obviously getting it's going to be fun, but I'm sure I'll grind it out. Yeah, pretty standard pick, I think.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Halo. And finally, Arcane, where are you off to?
Also, Zad Metagamer reporting in. Very much just want to go range and get the ZCB and potentially T-Bow, but TOA and Cox will just be fun with friends. Next will be fun with friends. Like, it's got a bunch of group content. It's got what you kind of care about for range. It's hard to not pick it.
Oh, cool.
One of my favorite things are the league acronyms that people obviously have when you put all of them together, and like not one of the worst, but like pretty up there on disconnected content is like Wildy Taranwin Fremenic, and I kind of love that that's just the WTF acronym, you know, like.
I'm actually really glad we didn't do any ARG stuff with this, because the amount of speculation that's been going on in that league's Discord already has been off, like, out there. If we had an ARG along the same time, I feel like that the league's Discord might have imploded a little bit. So probably best we avoided that. All right, thank you all. Yeah, I'm sure you're all looking forward to it tomorrow once the work day is over and you get to relax and actually play. The launch will be fine. So next up, we're going to go through the Executioner reveal and talk about it. So can we bring that up, please, Mod Druid?
I love that it's like a little thing that you throw. I know some people might just be, I want a passive, I don't want to change my weapons. But it's a cool little thing, like a moment, like a satisfying, like, I got you, you're dead. You know, like, kind of just has this fun little flavor in gameplay. Sick animation.
It is really cool. I think it feels satisfying.
Yeah, it's going to hit some crazy numbers, I think.
My gut says it's going to be the most picked in its tier. That's my gut.
Ooh.
Interesting. Do you agree with that, Arcane and Halo?
I don't know. I think the others are
content
pretty
you're
good.
doing.
Yeah.
But there is going to be some content that you're just hitting so big. Like, if you want to do Corp, insane. If you want to do Nex, it's crazy. If you want to do, like, juiced CMs with your friends, like Cox, like, it's going to be nuts. Anything with just big monsters is going to be really impactful. If you're just going to do a bunch of Slayer, not great. I do think it's going to be an interesting relic.
I think it's really easy to calculate when you're doing, like, talk about doing a lot of solo bossing. Like, even just like, oh, Alchemical Hydra, I know exactly how much DPS this is contributing, you know, or like some God War stuff. But it's got a lot of interesting dynamics for sure, because you actually get, you know, like hero points or kill credit or whatever with the damage you deal with this. If like there's 20 people at Nex and they're all with the Executioner relic and they're all waiting to try and snipe that for MVP, like, maybe you're not actually, maybe you just don't have a relic because you're not sniping it at that point. So maybe there's a few other options that are going to be, you know, a bit better, like, to like maybe make sure that you actually had some power throughout that kill. And if you miss the Executioner, if you have a raid team, it's great for sniping MVPs, but like if you've got a close-knit group of friends, maybe there's some other options that, you know, so that you don't just like, because 4 or 5 Executioners is kind of wasted. There's definitely some cool stuff with like skipping content. I know people have talked about like Zuck healer skips, so there's like, it's a really interesting relic, and I still think that it'll probably be the most picked, but it's definitely an interesting choice that people need to think through how that works. But like, I saw a comment in the Discord earlier being like, Next is at 21%. Everyone's holding, no damage. It's just like waiting for her to get to 20%. And who's going to be the person who, like, you know, breaks it and pushes her over?
Just to ask, because I've seen a couple of chat questions, is it a guaranteed hit, Arcane and Halo?
Yeah, 100%.
There you go. Easy. Like, you know, throw it and make sure that's guaranteed. Okay. I don't know. Should we reveal a little something extra
Is
for
this
the
the last
stream?
time?
Time.
Yeah. Is it time? Is it time to just maybe release something a little bit early? Just before
Time to
some,
make all your plans go to shambles. Time to kill Endless Harvest. Once and
Give us
for
some
all.
PogChamps in the chat. PogChamps in the chat if you want to see a reveal.
Come on, chat. We need to see you popping off. Yeah. We need to make sure chat is ready because seemingly ready. Go on then, Druid. Let's showcase the final teaser early. Why not?
Surprise!
We have it.
It's 8 tiers instead.
We like
8
you.
tiers!
8 tiers in Trailblazer Reloaded. When we said your plans are going to be scalpered, we fully meant it. So, why don't we have a little discussion? Arcane, do you want to start about the tiers and we can just sort of go through?
Yeah, I can give a bit of context behind all of this, and there's a lot of back and forth in me and Husky, really. But they originally, obviously, we announced 7 tiers, and that was the plan to flesh out the later game a little bit more and make sure there's like more chase unlocks. But then we kind of had like a weird balancing problem where some tiers had the same problem as Last Recall, where one relic was just infinitely better than everything else in the tier, and it was like, you can't really balance quality of life versus just like raw power, which is kind of what Last Recall had, right? Last Recall let you do something different. It let you play the game completely differently. Fairies Fly and Globetrotter just simply didn't. So it was just the no-brainer. And I think Husky kind of just had a really good point of like, we don't need to balance them against each other. Like, just give them like the extra choice. So it's like, okay, we're balancing quality of life versus quality of life, and we're balancing power against power. Like, we don't have another way of making teleports interesting early game. And like, we're already basically offering every single teleport. So then the solution was, how about we add an 8th tier? And then we basically just only need to choose between those. And then we had the thoughts of like, okay, well, we can make an 8th tier, but then we're going to have 3 tiers with only 2 in. Like, does that feel underwhelming? So we ended up rejigging them around a little bit. That's why we've got Banker's Note versus Fire Sale, which are like very comparable choices. Obviously, Fairy's Flight versus Globetrotter is very much like, what teleports do you care about the most? And then we came up with the Ruinous Powers relic to just flesh out the last tiers to go like, okay, make sure every tier has a decent choice within it. So there are actually 22 relics this time instead of the potential 21, but then you're also obtaining 8 relics instead of 7 in terms of just like individual player power. So yeah, I think it was a bit of a realization of like, whilst in last league we ended up removing second inventory, so then the Slayer and the Clue relics only had 2 tier, and that felt a bit underwhelming. It probably actually was kind of a good idea because they were very much like, what playstyle do you care about? Do you care about Slayer or do you care about Clues? And just pick what you care about the most. And that's great. While Banker's Note was just objective power for like every piece of content in the game. So we've kind of embraced it a little bit more now, where it's kind of like, okay, let's compare like make sure every relic in a tier is very comparable in terms of what it offers. So whether that's like a playstyle choice or a quality of life choice or whatever. So yeah, 8 tiers. There's going to be a lot more power in this league than prior leagues. Hopefully the decisions are a lot more interesting as well.
Yeah,
I think
awesome.
as well,
like... Oh, sorry, Husky. Mod Druid's just behind the scenes putting something together for us so we can have the tier list ready so we can talk over it. But go for it, Husky.
Nice. I was going to say the other thing as well is that, like, because right now I see like both Twitch and Discord blowing up and be like, oh, Banker's Note versus Fire Sale. Oh, Banker's Note's clearly better, but other people saying Fire Sale's clearly better. I think that tier specifically would be stronger if it would be way more in Banker's Note's favor if Last Recall didn't exist. Last Recall is basically close proximity to a bank as long, like, because, you just teleport to Varrock or whatever, go to the G, like, deposit your stuff, and then you come back, right? Or, equivalent. So I think that Banker's Note still has a lot of edges, but, like, I don't think it's as clear-cut as people think. I think Banker's Note is slightly overrated, but it's also still, like, got great synergy with Production Prodigy. That's a really interesting choice. I think Arcane and I are both going Fire Sale. And I also saw comments about the Ruinous Powers as, like, kind of a combat relic in amongst, like, skilling, which kind of goes against what we wanted, but it was more in the sense of, hey, let's just give them Ruinous Powers for fun. It fixes our issue of only 2 tiers being in what was, like, tier 5, I think, at the time. And if players do want a slightly more combat-focused playstyle, having access to slightly stronger prayers isn't an insane deal as far as that goes. It maybe frees up an area choice. Like, I think that's the biggest significance of it. But if you want, like, more skilling stuff, you still got those options there. So it's not perfect, but yeah, I think there's a ton of interesting choices here.
Yeah.
Awesome, yeah, just confirmed. There we go. We're a little bit in the way of the first lot, but everyone knows, I think, what tier 1 is by now. Endless Harvest, Production Prodigy, and Trickster. You guys just want to discuss each tier? You sort of like group certain things up together. I know there's some on there that players will not have seen yet and won't know what they are, so we'll keep them hidden for now.
I do want to talk about tier 1 a little bit, mostly to just talk about an argument that I've seen quite a few times from people regarding Trickster. Trickster definitely lets you get a lot of early game GP, but it's not going to give you like 20, 50 mil GP like really easily. So like when people are comparing Trickster versus Fire Sale and being like, oh, Trickster gives you enough money for like whatever you need, it'll probably give you like enough for like what you need, but even if you actually want to abuse the kind of things that Fire Sale lets you do, you're never going to have that kind of money with Trickster. Well, like even with Trickster, like you have to pickpocket so much. Even with like 4x GP with Rogue's outfit and Trickster, this GP is still not going to be crazy. You're going to get like 50 mil XP before you get even close to the amount of money that you'd need for some of the crazy GP like XP methods that Fire Sale obtains. So whilst Trickster's good early game and can alleviate a lot of money issues very early on, don't compare them with what Fire Sale actually lets you do in terms of like the amount of GP it lets you circumvent, because it is just on a completely different level. I just didn't want people to go like, oh, Trickster will be fine for GP, and then they realize that in fact it just doesn't even get anywhere close.
There's a lot of task list stuff as well. Obviously, tasks list isn't out yet. There are a lot of things that Fire Sale can let you tick off insanely early to give you a massive point boost early, while still, like, just the sheer amount of, say, production supplies that you could buy is, like, actually insane. Like, people keep talking about Banker's Note Production Prodigy synergy, but if you find a shop that, you can just spam buy, like, as many noted ores as you want or noted raw fish, that's also insane with Production Prodigy, right? Because Production Prodigy's problem at tier 1 is, I don't have enough resources to get the use out of this off Tutorial Island. Fire Sale kind of fixes that a little bit, right? Whereas Banker's Note still requires you to do the skilling, but it just kind of goes that they're completely different playstyles, right? So
I guess we're kind of ignoring the whole going tier by tier, but yeah, going on Banker's Note versus Fire Sale again. Like, Banker's Note is amazing. We're not, like, underselling Banker's Note, especially if you want to do, like, really long PVM trips or anything like that, or you do want to just bring a ridiculous amount of supplies into like Inferno or whatever. Like, it's not even comparable. I know a lot of people have been kind of memeing on it, but I can genuinely see people using it as an excuse to like skill while raiding and stuff. Like, people are saying you could blow glass anywhere and just have a ridiculous stack of glass, and like you're just doing chambers with your friends and you're just blowing glass in between rooms, right? Like, I can see some people legitimately doing that, and if you really enjoy that, all power to you. So like, there is a lot of things that Banker's Note lets you do that you just can't do it with any other relic in the game or any other content in the game. It's just, I think for me personally, Fire Sale is like a win because I just want to get a ridiculous point lead as soon as possible. I want to get into those high tiers as quick as possible. I'm not really playing for the late game, to be honest. I'm going to get all my relics. I'm going to get a ZCB. I'm going to try and push for T-Bow, and I'm perfectly content with that. I'm not going to be pushing for like 80, 100k points or anything, which Banker's Note might help me get to. I don't know. But that's just kind of like my playstyle kind of deal.
Arcane's a god that can do the Inferno with one brew and one restore. He doesn't need Banker's Note, you know?
I mean, there's even with that argument, right? Like, you could pick Soul Stealer and like maybe that helps you out with the Inferno. With Weapon Master, you could just SGS forever. Like, there's other things that help the whole supply game. So if you're just worried about supplies and certain content, maybe look at your entire relic selection instead of individual tiers and see if it gets alleviated already.
Don't worry, we're not spoiling Soul Stealer yet. Don't worry. Just a little teaser. You guys are gonna have to wait until tomorrow for that one.
On the whole tier 1 stuff as well, like, I really, really don't think there's a wrong choice here. It comes down to playstyle, it comes down to league goals, it also comes down to your area picks, right? Like, people have noted, like, Trickster has insane synergy if you pick, you know, Mauritania for like the blood shards, or if you pick Taranwin for like the crystal stuff, and like they do have area synergies. But just on the note of it, like, consider what it does to your playstyle and for skilling playstyle, like, really strongly. So Endless Harvest might only seem like it impacts 3 skills, but it gets you enough supplies to not care about another 5. Production Prodigy, like, kind of just takes away any AFK time. And even if Production Prodigy gave you double XP and all those skills, I personally would never take it, because I really value, you know, maybe watching TV sometimes. I'm not wanting to go hard on the league and just, you know, blowing my glass and making my potions and fletching my bows. Production Prodigy takes that aspect of gameplay away from me personally, and I value that. But for other people who really enjoy just, okay, I'm going to do insane inventories all at once, I'm going to go and I'm going to go and I'm going to go, like, Production Prodigy could be insane, but you still need to fix the resource problem, right? Of like how you get those resources. And then Trickster kind of gives you another couple of skills that you like are semi-AFK in a way. You know, you don't have to worry about, like, it makes thieving AFK, it kind of makes agility a non-thing, has some fun stuff with fire making if you're picking Wintertodd. So all of these have different strengths. There literally isn't a wrong choice. I'm sure, like, it might matter if you're going for, like, you know, front page, top 100 stuff, right? Like, there might be a correct choice then. But for the average player, really just consider what it does to your early game skilling, and specifically how it might impact how you get to further relics, right? Like, if you pick Trickster, you're probably going to be doing a lot more thieving to get to your early relics. If you're picking Endless Harvest, you're probably going to be doing a lot more fishing, wood cutting, and mining to get to your like earlier relics. So just consider that as well, like, in how it affects your playstyle and the content that you want to do.
Halo, what do you reckon you're going to pick in tier 8?
Tier 8? Oh my god. I think I'm leaning towards the Guardian, I think. Just can't resist.
It's a good against everything, right? It's a reliable choice. It alleviates any style problems that you might have, where you just feel like your melee setup's awful.
Exactly, and I definitely won't die, so I won't need Undying Retribution. An Executioner. I'll be doing so much DPS, that I'll be executing myself with the Guardian. It's fine.
What I will say as well, like, because I can finally talk about this now because we know what's comparing and stuff. Guardian versus Executioner, I already covered all the sniping last hit stuff. But there are very few players who are going to be executing on Slayer task. Like, let's be honest, right? We're probably going to be AFK. We're probably going to be going through it. Can I be bothered switching to an item to kill like a Bloodveld for the last 20 health? Like, not really, right? So, in like, if you're for some types of content, Executioner is going to be insane. For others, it's going to be like not even a relic choice. Guardian is going to be consistently there. You know, she's going to be helping me killing all the Bloodvelds and getting through my Slayer task quicker passively. So that's a really interesting choice as well. And then, like, even just Undying Retribution, I could see people like really going for like a whole like nuke themselves to kill bosses meta. Maybe, like, I don't know, that could be quite fun.
That's personally what I'm leaning towards doing Undying Retribution. I think it'll be really nice at some content to just actually have that life-saving mechanic. As much as we can meme like, oh, I'm never gonna die or whatever, like, you turn your brain off every now and again, you're probably gonna die, you're gonna mess up, and like just having that like fail-safe will feel really good, and the fact that he might just kill everything around you as well will also feel really good. And I think if there's enough of my friends that pick it as well, I love the idea, like, as a range user, all going into Tecton, and then just sitting there, turning Protect from Melee Prayer off, and Tecton just blows up. Like, that's just fun. Even if it's maybe not the meta pick, and it's not efficient or whatever, and it would be better to just use Guardian and kill it normally, just letting yourself die to Tectons, blowing the boss up, would just be so satisfying. Like, it. What is there anything else in the game that really gives you that kind of feeling? I don't know. Like, it just sounds fun.
Bo can finally get vengeance on Tecton, you know? I'd like to talk about tier 2 if we have the time, because I think that something that maybe isn't like super apparent right now, but like, you're similar to the last league, you're probably going to get into your tier 2 pretty quickly. And I don't even think tier 3 is that far off. I'll even spoil that a little bit, right? Like with the point unlocks. I know some people might be worried that, oh, combat's tier 4, it's way later. It's like slightly later. It's like not by too much. So like, one thing we haven't actually covered is what Fairy's Flight and Globetrotter do. So maybe we should talk about that a little bit and let them know like some of the changes. Like, are these copy pasted from last league or?
Yeah, I was actually going to touch on that. There's a few relics that.
So Globetrotter. Oh, and you go. Yeah. You can tell them Globetrotter.
Yeah, so Globetrotter is basically all the Portal Nexus teleports you can get in your house, and the portable or the ornate jewelry box, I think is called. Just from anywhere. Obviously, you're locked to your region teleports. And I don't know if we want to go into detail into Fairy's Flight, but we'll say
I can.
It's different from Trailblazer. Yeah.
Fairy's Flight is exactly the same as last league, but you also get leprechauns. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
And that is so many teleports. That is so many teleports to leprechauns. Like, you actually map out how far you can go to the various niche places with leprechauns.
It's like every farming patch, pretty much.
There's one leprechaun in particular that is in a certain place that Globetrotter cannot get you to.
In an early game, that's pretty significant, yeah. I'm a Fairy's Flight enjoyer this league. I'm doing it. I'm picking it. It was for me last time.
I'm on the fence.
I'm going.
Well,
I was going to say people might. Well, I was going to say people might recognize some of the other relics as well, and just know that there are small tweaks to what they were in Trailblazer. For you to think about.
But you'll have to wait until tomorrow.
I think the only relic that is identical to last league is Endless Harvester.
Endless Harvest. Yeah.
I think all the other ones are different.
Yeah. The returning ones would be Equilibrium, Treasure Seeker, Infernal Gathering. Is that it? It's just those three? The others are all kind of
Fairy's Flight, but yeah.
And obviously Fairy's Flight, yeah. All of them have been buffed in some way. So what I will say to people is don't just go, oh, that's Equilibrium, I know what Equilibrium does. Just give it a gander, maybe just weigh it up against your other choices. I think I still might change this at the time. My current relic picks are probably Trickster, Fairy's Flight, Archer's Embrace, Treasure Seeker, Equilibrium. Those are the two tiers I'm uncertain about, but probably those two. Then probably Soul Stealer, Guardian. If anyone was curious, that is probably my build.
Yeah, if you want to pick Tyrannwyn, you're a Tyrannwyn enjoyer, pick what Husky said. You'll definitely have a really good time. For all 73 of you that responded on that Reddit survey.
Hey, I'm buying an early Crystal Crown, okay? Like that's part of the plan.
Awesome. All right. Is there any last words from either Arcane or Halo or Husky before we wrap up stream?
I'm good. Good luck. Stay hydrated. Prepare a bunch of food for the next week.
I hope everyone enjoys the league. Yeah, it's been fun making it. That's for sure.
Yeah. You have less than 24 hours to go until Leagues 4 Trailblazer Reloaded launches, and we can't wait to all see you in there. All right, I think that is it for now. We hope you learned some new things. You're probably going to have to relook at your plans again. Probably the same thing come tomorrow as well, but you'll just have to wait and see when we have more information dropping tomorrow for you when Leagues starts. So I should probably say we're aiming to get the Worlds live at 12 p.m. GMT. Aiming is the word, so please, if we need a little bit more time, then just hopefully you can be a little bit more patient, but that's the aim. So yeah, we'll go through the announcements and then we will wrap up, and I feel like we should give Foe a little host after this, just to say sorry for ribbing on him a little bit, so stick around if you want to check out Foe and his stream. Alright, first up, Leagues. Leagues 4 Trailblazer Reloaded releases tomorrow. If you need help prepare and check out our Leagues 4 FAQ and teasers blog with that. Poll live. Have your say on the Ratbone weaponry that you can create from Scurrius's unique untradeable drops. The poll closes on Friday. Get all the details with that. If you want some more people to talk to about Leagues, especially with all the new reveals we just showcased, Discord to join the official Old School Leagues Discord. Guide, if you're uncertain about what regions to unlock for Leagues 4, we've gathered 11 Old School content creators to tell you why you should pick their favourite region. So you can watch that there. Brilliant video. And one creator in particular, the Snake himself, solo mission, he's giving you a guide if you're jumping into Leagues for the very first time. You can check out his tips and tricks starting out and getting the most out of your League experience with solo mission. GT, you can check out the imagery. We partnered with Gentle Tractor to bring you a concise and easy to read area guide for any region you may choose to explore. It's got loads of information in there and cool art, so check that out. And finally, if you want to look at some early tasks before the launch tomorrow, we've teamed up with the OSRS wiki, and you can use !wiki to start planning your journey now. That is it. Thank you very much to Mods Arcane, Halo, and Husky for joining me this very special pre-leagues live stream. Thank you to Mod Druid behind the scenes, as always, and all the lovely JMods in chat. That is it. Oh, Husky, you want to say something quickly?
Yeah, I want to give a very big shout out to Mods Arcane and Halo right now, because I really don't want to take any credit for actually doing this league and making it happen. I'm just that guy who's been sit on the sidelines at the other end of a DM if they want to run an idea past and stuff. These two have done a phenomenal job crafting this, what is going to be an incredible and insane league experience for you all to enjoy. So I just want to say a big shout out to them. They deserve all the love that they honestly are going to get for doing such an amazing job on this. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be the mascot on the team. But yeah, awesome job to you two.
Equally, shout out to Mod Tide and Husky for helping out so much. Tide has also been on the team, an absolute MVP, especially on his King interface work. Absolute monster. But Husky has always been a massive advice consultant, I suppose. And you did a lot of interface work yourself this league.
Yeah.
It helped start in the game jam.
Indeed. Halo, any shout outs then before we wrap up?
No. Just shout out to Husky. Just being there whenever we need him.
I'm not going anywhere.
Stuff. That's cute. Super cute. What a wholesome end to this wonderful stream. All right, we're going to go over and host or raid Foe now, so stick around for that. and we hope to see you all tomorrow when Leagues 4 Trailblazer Reloaded begins. Have a wonderful evening, and we will speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.